OK, now let's get to one of the biggest games in Manchester City's history. The Premier League champions-elect are hosting the holders Real Madrid in the return leg of their Champions League semi-final tonight, with a place against Inter Milan in the final at stake. We can cross to Manchester now. Ben Ransom is there and he's got a guest alongside him. Ben, big night ahead. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, it is a huge night. You can see I'm joined by Filippo Benincampi from Sky Italy, who's going to be covering this game, but also will give us an insight into Inter Milan, who we know now await the winners of this tie tonight in the final. Filippo, let's talk about this game first, though, because it's a hugely exciting game. Outside of England, how do you view Manchester City and how do you view Real Madrid?
Well, last night, obviously, as soon as Inter Milan progressed to the final, they were wondering what is better to face. So if you had one choice to pick one team for the final, who would you pick? And everybody answered Manchester City because of history. Obviously, everybody's so aware of how good Real Madrid are in winning finals, really specialists. But they picked Manchester City. I was a bit surprised. Manchester City showed this season how massive they are, how brilliant they are, especially when it comes to the big games. We've seen against Arsenal, we've seen against Bayern Munich, we've seen a lot of times this season. So it's going to be really tough. They know they are the underdog for the final, but they hope Manchester City to become their partners in Istanbul.
It's intriguingly poised, isn't it, this game we've got here tonight? Because after that first leg, we saw flashes of brilliance, I think it's fair to say, from both Real Madrid and Manchester City. Yeah. We know about the star players, Vinicius Junior scoring that sumptuous goal, Kevin De Bruyne's equaliser. We know about Erling Haaland as well. Where do you think the game tonight will be decided?
Difficult to say. I think Carlo Ancelotti probably is the only manager to manage to get in trouble Pep Guardiola, because he defends very low, and sometimes Pep Guardiola in the Premier League has got a habit to have teams pressing very high, and with high pressing, very strong. But Carlo, with what we call functional football, like they defend very low. So Manchester City had, for example, to try from outside the box like they did in the first half in the Bernabeu. So I think Ancelotti always is very good to keep the cool and transmit the player the relax, the serenity to play these kind of games.
Carlo Ancelotti is a fascinating character. I call him the coolest man in football. We've had him in a couple of jobs in England. Obviously, He's got that great history in Italy as well. He has been there, seen it, and done it all.
I mean, he wrote a book, and the title of the book is "I Prefer the Cup," because it's never been amazing in winning leagues. Obviously, he won every league: Liga and Bundesliga, Premier League, Serie A, obviously. But when it comes to Champions League, Carlo Ancelotti turns himself into a master, and he showed Real Madrid how to win La Decima, how we call the 10th Champions League. They were desperate to win the 10th. It comes to Carlo Ancelotti, 94 minutes in Lisbon. They were losing 1-0 to Atletico Madrid. Never lose their head. Sergio Ramos scored, and then they went on winning the Champions League in the extra time, same as the Champions League final against Liverpool. Liverpool were top side last season. Fantastic first half. Vinicius Junior scored, and they really look relaxed when they play in the Champions League. They said it yesterday. Champions League is our home, and that's really impressive for everyone.
We saw an incredible game last night. Let's talk about the other semi-final. In terms of the atmosphere, the passion in Milan. Inter, AC Milan head-to-head. Inter, we know now, will be in the final, and to be honest, they seemed a lot stronger over the two legs. What sort of an opponent will they be for whoever wins tonight?
I think I've always thought they are the better team in Italy as well. They haven't won the league. Napoli did, with like more than 20 points of gap. But Inter Milan has got a lot of players, and in squad-wise, they're very deep. Because if you think about it, they got Dzeko and Lautaro up front, but they have Lukaku and Correa as well. Not many Italian teams can count 4 attacking players off that level. So and they have experienced players as well, like Onana, former Ajax goalkeeper. They got Mkhitaryan, played in England, won the Europa League. They got Brozovic, they got like Barella playing brilliantly now for Italian football, and Dumfries. They have experience, even though they're quite young. I mean, in midfield, but they know how to do it. And I'm not surprised they head into the final. Obviously not expected at the start of the season, but they're there and they deserved it.
Are we seeing the rebirth of Italian football? So many people thought Napoli would get to this stage because of the fantastic football they've played this season. We won't mention the Euros. But now Inter Milan are in a European Cup final again. I mean, are we seeing this rebirth?
If we've seen at old European competitions this season. We see like 2 semi-finals in the Europa League, Roma and Juventus, Fiorentina in the Conference League. So it's very impressive. Roma won the Conference League last season thanks to Jose Mourinho. So probably it's a resurgence, it's a rebirth of the Italian football. I think the standard of the league has to grow because sometimes it's boring. We have to say that. The level of the bottom team is under expectations, in my opinion. But European-wise, internationally-wise, they got better. Sometimes they used to underrate like competitions like the Europa League and the Conference League, but now they don't because they know it's really important. And I think they have to play always with a perfect lineup in the European competitions, and not often that happened in the past. Sometimes they want to rest players to be brilliant in the league, but they know how important they are, the European competitions, and they're more confident, and they're in the finals now.
One of the big signifiers, I guess, is how they're viewed on a European level, and the fact that a lot of the big names in Serie A are being linked with big money moves this summer.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about Inter Milan and Barella.
Yeah.
We talk about Kim Min-jae. We talk about Victor Osimhen. There are some big names potentially on the move. What's your understanding of the sort of player that may well move to the Premier League in the summer?
Well, we talked with Gianluca Di Marzio with Sky Sports News last week, and he said like Liverpool has now probably lost Jude Bellingham, who's heading to Real Madrid. So Niccolò Barella, the Inter Milan midfielder, very charismatic. He won the Euros with Italy, and he might be under ice for Liverpool Football Club. They really need a central midfield, fresh. They had a fantastic midfield in the past few years, but probably now it's time to change. And Niccolò Barella can be the right man for them. And I reckon he can play brilliantly in the Premier League. He's the kind of player. He's got pace. He's hungry. He never get his leg out of a contrast or a duel. So he can be the right player for Liverpool.
Kim Min-jae, how likely is that move?
Fantastic from Aurelio De Laurentiis to bring him from Fenerbahce. It was a very good deal, and he's very consistent. And if we think about Napoli played the second leg against Inter Milan without Kim, massive losing for Napoli, and Victor Osimhen up front, amazing. Probably the best striker we've seen in the Serie A since the very good old days. So. It will be cracking in the Premier League, I'm sure. Should he head to the Premier League?
Should it happen? Well, let's finish by talking about this game tonight, because this is the game that all eyes right across the world, not just Europe, are going to be on. It's delicately poised. Manchester City have Erling Haaland. Real Madrid have Vinicius Junior. Almost home advantage goes out the window, I think it's fair to say, in this game, because there's so much talent, and Real Madrid bring that history. 14 times they've won this competition. How excited are you for what we're going to see unfold on the pitch tonight? So excited, and I'll tell you, the cup will be there. The Champions League will be cup. I don't know whether it will be intimidating for Manchester City. Obviously, they're desperate to win this Champions League. Real Madrid, 14 times. It's like drinking a cup of tea for them. The Champions League. It's not really the most difficult things for them, but for all of us, it's so difficult. It's like living your dream, lifting the Champions League. Inter Milan last time in 2010, AC Milan 27. So a lot of times passed by, and I say history can count. But Manchester City will be very, very hungry tonight. They got a lot of chances to get through, especially after what happened last season. 89 minutes in the Bernabeu, they were leading, 99% of progressing, and then what happened? Real Madrid scored twice. So I think they will remember that, and they will, in the key moment of the game, probably they will not make the same mistakes. I think you get the sense there. We could talk about this game all day, but for now, we will go and have a cup of tea.
Right.
And then we will continue the build-up, because it promises to be a fascinating encounter. No doubt, two of the best teams in the world will go head-to-head, toe-to-toe, and only one of them can go on to meet Inter Milan in that Champions League final.
And we could listen to you both all day. Thanks ever so much, you two.